What I wanted to do is link you 4 videos that you should watch before ever sitting in a stick shift car. So before you ever start your manual transmission car, watch these videos. They show some very real situations you can get into, and maybe by watching them, you can avoid getting into similar situations. So give them a like because they are great teaching tools. The first one is called Joey's Crash. And this is a video of a person driving their Mustang into a house. And the only reason this happened was because they started the car in gear, got distracted or whatever happened. They popped their foot off the clutch and the car shot forward into the house. Now, the right way to learn how to start a manual transmission car is you bring your stick into neutral, give it a good shake. You pick up that habit of shaking the stick into neutral to make sure it's in neutral. Start the car, then you can let your foot off the clutch. If you shake it into neutral, start the car, and get distracted by your phone or friend or whatever, and pop your foot off the clutch, the car is not going to shoot forward into a curb, a person, or a house. So pick up that habit of shaking the stick into neutral anytime you want it in neutral. So the second video is called Why Girls Shouldn't Drive Stick. So ridiculous title, has nothing to do with girls, but a great video that shows exactly why when you're learning how to drive a stick shift, you have to learn how to clutch in and brake. You can't assume the person is going to press the brake. So the first thing you learn when moving a stick shift car is you bring up the clutch to the bite point, car will start to roll, you move it 5 feet, 10 feet, and then you bring the car to a complete stop. You clutch in and brake. You have to make sure they're pressing the brake because it's very common for automatic drivers learning stick shift that they will just press the clutch in and forget to press the brake. The car will just roll through a stop sign or intersection, roll into a curb or whatever it is. It's very common. So don't be surprised when watching this video that she rolled over a curb into the bushes because the person never taught her how to clutch in and brake. Before you start driving the car around the parking lot, make sure you move it 5 feet, 10 feet, then come to a complete stop. Your foot needs to get used to clutching in and braking. Okay, the third video is called Porsche Stalling on San Francisco Hill. There's so much going on in this video. It's a great video to watch. The first part is if you're learning in a busy environment, you're going to get into this situation where you stall in front of people. And if you have anxiety and you panic easy, you might get into this situation where you feel kind of pressure from large crowds who are watching you, might be pointing at you, might be laughing at you, whatever it is, you're going to get into this situation. You're going to stall your car in front of people, and that's what's happening in this video. The second part of this video is it's very common for manual transmission drivers to end up trying the same thing over and over and over. So I stall my car, I start it up, and I move my feet a certain way, and the car stalls. I start the car up again, I move my feet the exact same way, and the car stalls again. Then I start the car up, and maybe I move my feet a little bit faster, thinking it's going to work, and the car stalls again. That's exactly what's happening in this video. This Porsche driver is just doing the same thing over and over and over again. And then finally, they do something different. Maybe they move their feet, instead of trying to move it faster, they move their feet slower, and the car is able to drive off. So recognize if you're getting into a situation where you're just moving your feet the same way over and over again, and the car keeps stalling. You need to stop, take a breath, and figure out what's going wrong exactly. Try something different. So the fourth video or videos, you don't have to watch all of these. I suggest you just watch like one of these compilations called Money Shift. And these are very experienced drivers blowing up their engines because they made a mistake shifting. And it's a common thing to do. It can happen to anybody, and it doesn't matter how experienced you are. So when you're learning how to drive a manual transmission, you're more prone to making a misshift and blowing up your engine. So you have to be careful to first learn how to get precise shifts by shifting slowly and carefully and putting some thought into it. Do not try to shift fast, because you're going to end up destroying your car. And it's a very real thing, and it can happen very easily. Instead of going into, third gear, you force the car into first gear while you're doing 60 or 70 and the car blows up. Okay, very easily it can happen. So watch these videos and see how these experienced drivers blow up their cars by making a misshift. This is another great video I wanted to show you called Ford Mustang Rolls Into My Car. And what happens here is this red car rolls backwards. He's either in neutral or his clutch foot is all the way in, and he eases up on his brakes for whatever reason. Maybe he's distracted, he's texting or whatever it is, and he rolls backwards, doesn't notice he's rolling backwards, and hits this camera car. So when you're learning hill starts, it's really common that people will start staring at their RPM gauge, trying to get like the perfect RPM to do the hill start. And sometimes they won't notice that they're rolling backwards, or they've eased up pressure on the brake and the car starts rolling backwards. They don't even notice it because they're staring at the RPM gauge, and then the car rolls back and bumps into a car behind them. So when you're learning hill starts, it's really important that you stare out at the road and glance at your gauges. If you're looking out at the road, you will notice immediately if your car is rolling back even a little bit. So check out this video, and that's about it.